Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 20 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. It's a really loud truck that just moved over, so I hope that didn't make too much noise, but we're just jumping right into today's episode. I am still using the Hail team that we featured yesterday with, of course, both Sandslash and Ninetales. If you haven't seen this yesterday's episode, definitely check it out. It was actually a really crazy episode, but looking forward to trying this team a little bit more, and hopefully Sandslash can put in some work, so let's jump right into it. First team of the day is what feels like a pretty meta standard team for like Series 5. I guess like it's not entirely super meta, but things like the combination of Pory-GONE plus Redirection plus Rillaboom I've seen a bunch. Dracovish is getting to become increasingly popular again, it feels like. So lots of scary threats on my opponent's team. Once again, the Intimidate makes me not want to lead with, say, my Sandslash. Primarina looks pretty good here. Like yesterday we committed to like Primarina plus Cinderace as a lead. So I'm wondering if you want to go with that route again, because once again, I do like Ninetales and Sandslash in the back. If you look at what Primarina doesn't like going up against here, it's pretty much only that Rillaboom. So what I'm thinking is I could just go Primarina Cinderace with Ninetales Sandslash. I've gone with the same mode 4 times now with this team, but it just seems like it works, so why not? The logic behind this is the only thing that really threatens Max Primarina is going to be that Rillaboom, and if I see Rillaboom, then Cinderace pressures it, and I could switch out. And I have triple ice, right? So, yeah. It worked out yesterday, so let's try it out again. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Ranked, please share support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you once again to everyone that's been coming out and tuning into the videos recently. It just, it makes me really happy that so many people are playing and watching Series 5. And question of the day, I'm curious what you guys think is the worst weather-based Pokemon. And when I mean weather-based, I mean basically any Pokemon that has an ability that can take advantage of weather. Let me know in the comments below. Okay, it's going to be Porygon Z and Rillaboom. Okay. You would think this is, like, not bad, but it's still kind of scary, because, like, what my opponent can do right now is just fake out Primarina and then Max Strike into Cinderace. I actually wonder if High Jump Kick just one-shots Porygon. Because if it does, I might just go for the High Jump Kick. And then switch out into... why would I switch out into Ninetales? Does that make much sense? Obviously, Porygon could protect here as well, right? You could protect and just attack. I could max Primarina and then like max Ice into Rillaboom. I don't know, I'm kind of thinking just going out into Ninetales and then going for High Jump Kick. This is like a little bit risky. I don't think you fake out into the Cinderace. Okay, nice, they switch out, so probably Arcanine? Ah, Clef coming in, okay. I don't mind that too much, though, because right now, all of our opponent's Pokemon are actually really weak to Alolan Sandslash, so we could potentially Dynamax that. I didn't want to Dynamax Cinderace because I was like, we can't one-shot Porygon. If we max it, and then Porygon maxes, we're kind of in an awkward spot. Because we're not going to KO, and they probably KO us in return with Max Strike. And yeah, Porygon does commit to Dynamax, so okay, it's fine by me. The only downside here is that I probably could have stayed in and just gone for an attack with the Primarina, because now if you go for the Max Strike, you'll probably KO you'll definitely KO either of the Pokemon. You also get a Speed Drop, which means then Porygon outspeeds us, which isn't that great. However, a Life Orb High Jump Kick, even with Friend Guard, is still going to do a ton of damage here. Okay, and then more importantly, we get that free switching into the Sandslash. Oh my gosh, that was almost a one-hit KO. That was so strong. Okay, they're going to just commit Max Strike. That's fine. Yeah, into Cinderace. That's why I didn't want to Dynamax the Cinderace. I don't really think I get too much value out of maxing there. So now I actually am able to bring in Sandslash for free. And with Sandslash in, I could pretty easily... Yeah, with Life Orb... Actually, does this faint from Hail? It's so close. Oh, that is a dream turn 1 for us then. That is super good. Okay. So, I could obviously bring in Arcanine or... Sorry, not Arcanine. I was thinking they bring in Arcanine. I really thought Arcanine was switching in turn 1, which makes me think maybe they don't have it. Sandslash is, like, the better bring, considering we know they have Clef and Rillaboom. So let's bring this out now. If they bring out Rillaboom, I think we just kind of win by Dynamaxing Sandslash. Ooh, it's Dracovish. Okay, I don't mind seeing that either. Yeah, we are in very good shape now. Because I think Sandslash actually just wins this at this point. So what I'm going to do here is switch out Ninetales into... do I actually need to switch? I could just Aurora Veil, right? Or even Ice Shard to let the Vicious Wren doesn't KO us, and then we get a defense boost. I think Clefairy probably protects here, right? That makes the most sense. Because I don't have Focus Sash on Primarina, I don't really have any value in keeping Ninetales around, right? So might as well Aurora Veil, Max, and Steel Spike. That seems okay to me. If Clefairy doesn't have Protect or doesn't opt to Protect for some reason here, then the game's just instantly over, because then the Rillaboom, the Sandslash one-shots the Clef, the incoming Rillaboom the next turn. However, I think it is actually better to protect the Ninetales here, because the one thing I didn't consider is the fact that my Primarina doesn't have Protect. And so if you do one-shot the Ninetales here, and I do KO Clef, then you get a free switch into Primarina, and they're just going to go for Follow Me. Okay. Yeah, so if I protected there, I think I would have just won, because we would KO the Clefairy. But, Sandslash gets a defense boost, which is nice. That should get the one-hit KO. Nice. So this was actually a game to Dynamax Sandslash. That's exactly why I did not want to Dynamax with Cinderace turn 1. Always remember that High Jump Kick is significantly weaker once you Dynamax, because then it just becomes Max Knuckle. And so, that increased damage output is actually really important. They actually commit Vicious Rend into Sandslash, which just does no damage. And we get Aurora Veil up. Okay, that's game. Nice. Sandslash legit was actually could 4v1 against my opponent's team. They did not bring Arcanine, which meant they pretty much had no answer against Sandslash, unless the Rillaboom has a fighting type attack. Even with one, it's not really that great. So, yeah. Now I can just switch out. Actually, no, we stay in here with Ninetales because we don't want to take any potential damage on Primarina. Because, okay, when you're this far ahead in Pokemon, you still always want to consider what is the worst case scenario, how do I lose the game? So in this situation, I have Aurora Veil up, I have the defense boost here. There's probably not much that can happen for us to lose, but ideally I want to just knock out the Rillaboom, one-shot it here with Max Hailstorm, and then Primarina obviously wins 1v1 against Dracovish. But our opponent just forfeits. I was really hoping we could get 3 max moves off with the Sandslash, but alas, we only got 1. Either way, though, I think this game was pretty much won off turn 1. The fact that we were able to knock out Porygon through through Friend Guard was a really big deal. So the little bit of Life Orb plus Hail damage adding up to guarantee that we picked the knockout was super nice. So yeah, always consider when you want to Dynamax. It's super tempting to Dynamax Cinderace in that position, but it would have worked out against us, and Sandslash was the perfect Maxmon to have in the late game. We're up against a really similar team comp here. Another Porygon. This is what I mean by when I was like, this is it feels like kind of a standard Series 5 team comp now. Another Porygon, another Rillaboom, another Clef. This time instead of Arcanine, there's an Incineroar, and then you've got the Urshifu and the Corviknight. Okay. So I'm really worried about Corviknight, honestly. I think that's actually the biggest threat to us, and I think similar to how that last match played out. I don't think I bring Gothitelle. You could make an argument for Rillaboom, but I don't know. Actually, is Sandslash that good here with the Corviknight and the Incineroar? Maybe not. Because one approach I could go with in this game is Dynamax the Primarina. I mean, Sandslash for Steel into Clef alone is actually still pretty valuable, and with the Focus Sash. But I think this time around, I want to Dynamax a Cinderace, and I want to kind of keep it as a late-game Pokemon instead of early game. So I might actually go with Ninetales Sandslash as a lead, with Primarina Cinderace in the back. So we're bringing the same Pokemon, but we are changing it up a little bit. Unfortunately, none of the teams we've gone up against with this has just been super friendly to Weakness Policy Rillaboom. We've gone pretty much nothing we've gone up against has we've had a good matchup with Weakness Policy Rillaboom. And the Gothitelle is used more so to stop opposing Psy Spam Trick Room teams. We could use it to set up Trick Room, but I feel like in the games that we've run into hasn't really had great value. Okay, so my opponent just commits Porygon and Incineroar. I guess this is pretty scary. I mean, I'd love to get an Aurora Veil up turn 1. It's likely my opponent is just going to... I mean, this is still fine though, right? Like I said, I wanted to bait out the Incineroar early so then I can just max the Cinderace later on in this game. So I think in this position, you likely go for Fake Out Max Strike into the Ninetales. However, if my opponent doesn't for some reason, I can get an Aurora Veil up, which would be pretty sweet. Yeah, because I think Cinderace is the Pokemon that definitely maxes in this matchup. Because my opponent doesn't have great speed control. So turn 1, I'm going to Aurora Veil. I expect a Fake Out Max Strike into Ninetales, but in the chance that they don't, maybe get something off. Rock Slide is interesting just for chip damage on... actually, I think we want chip damage onto the Porygon instead. Because any chip damage means that it should be in max Knuckle KO range. So, yeah. 2 Porygon Z teams back-to-back. Porygon Z, of course, I think it was a Pokemon I slept on going into Series 5, and a lot of players have been using it so far because of its ability to just do so much damage. I mean, Max Strike, it's like the strongest Max Strike in the game, basically, right? My pre-Marina Cinderace lead, I don't think would have worked out super well here. Let's see. Okay, so they go for Fake Out into Ninetales. Yeah, so they went for what was expected, but that's still okay with me. Get a Triple Axle off. Now, obviously, this isn't going to do very much damage, but it is enough to chip away at Porygon. Enough where I think a Max Knuckle will KO this. And yeah, that third one's actually a lot, getting a crit. Which is why I went for the Triple Axle instead of Iron Head. With the increased crit chance. Or not increased crit chance, but just like the ability to crit every single attack. Yeah, so they go for the play that was expected. That's fine by me, because now it's a free switch into Cinderace. The only thing that I have to debate this next turn is, do you have Clef in the back? And if you have Clef in the back, do you protect Porygon, switch the Incineroar out into Clef? So I think that's certainly a likely play. However, even if you do that, Max Knuckle should still KO Porygon and also get an attack increase. Okay, so like, if I want to hard predict here, I could double up onto the Incineroar slot, saying, hey, you're going to switch out into Clefairy, and just go for a Max Knuckle and an Iron Head onto that slot. Cinderace isn't in much danger. I just don't think Porygon ever really attacks here, right? It's just if I call it wrong, we probably lose the game off it. So the question is, do I really need to predict right now? I'm thinking the answer is not really. It's just if we called it correctly, we probably just win the game. Yeah, there's no way Porygon attacks here, I think. Maybe this is a little risky, but I am going to double up the Incineroar slot here, expecting to switch into Clef. Okay, they don't switch, but that might indicate Parting Shot. Yeah, I mean, the only way this, like, the only downside of this is if Porygon doesn't max and then just strike into Cinderace. And if they do that, honestly, props to them, because that's a really hard read to make, in my opinion. And I think if we predict the Max Guard, which often comes out here, it wins us the game. Yeah, nice. Okay. Because they didn't hard switch, I'm not sure this wins us the game immediately, but Max Knuckle might just be enough to KO here. I did go for Iron Head instead of Rock Slide, though, so if like this survives, which it does, that's still fine. I think because Incineroar's never doing that much damage. I don't even know if a Rock Slide was going to KO, to be honest. I mean, it might not be buried, but I'm expecting it to be. Oh, it's not. Beautiful. Alright, well, that's an example of a read in which, like, it's relatively... We were in a position where, like, it made a lot of sense to make it, but if my opponent made, like, a crazy hard prediction calling me out on that, and just attack with Porygon, we'd be in a pretty bad spot. And while I'm the player that tends to play a little bit safer, I just think that, like, you have to, like, really have really good grasp in order to not go for the Max Guard there. However, Clef is in the back, so, I mean, there's still a bit of get it in for free. That being said, I feel like a G-Max Fireball probably just one-shots at this point. And what we do is actually just target the Porygon slot. Let's see, we still have Primarina in the back, and Porygon is a lot less effective after it loses Dynamax, so I think just going for Fireball into that slot and Iron Head is pretty safe. Part of me wants the Triple Axle, actually, but Iron Head's guaranteed damage. Triple Axle could miss, so let's not go for that. Yeah, so they go for Follow Me, but because in that position, there is a chance that the Clef protects and the Porygon Z attacks, might as well go for the Fireball into that slot. This should one-shot, I would think, right? Let's see. Yeah, with the increased attack, it definitely does. Nice. Okay, so we got an Iron Head off here, too. We're still faster than Porygon. This is going to be able to Max Strike, though. It's not really that much damage. I was hoping it would do a little bit more. Okay, so they're going to strike into Cinderace. It's enough for a KO. Nice decision on my opponent to not hard switch the Incineroar. Because if they did that, they actually would have lost the game instantly. So I was reading a Clef switch out. But Max ends now. I mean, the problem is that Porygon should outspeed us now because they got 2 Max Strikes off against the Sandslash. And I guess now if there is Corviknight in the back, that's what I'm worried about. So let's see. It is. Yeah, I was hoping we could KO the Porygon there, but I probably gave a little bit too much credit into Sandslash. So, what went wrong? What could I have done with Cinderace? Is there anything else I could have done? Not really, right? My opponent just had a free, like, pretty safe play to make consistently, basically. I think here you just Hyper Beam into Primarina. You should double up onto Primarina. So, the way we can win this is by just going for Triple Axle and Hydro Cannon onto Corviknight, I think. Expecting Primarina to not stick around for longer. Okay, yeah, so they Hyper Beam. This shouldn't KO us, though. Yeah. I don't think it should. Maybe I'm sleeping on it. Okay, yeah, we survived. Nice. Porygon should faint after Hail, I believe. If this double up KOs, we obviously win. It's really good damage from Triple Axle, actually. I think it should KO. But they're faster. Oh, but they target Sandslash. What? Nice. Please be enough to KO. We got him. Nice. You should definitely target double up on the Primarina there, because if you double up on Primarina, I most likely lose. Although, actually, it would have been 1v1 Sandslash against Corviknight, and if it didn't have Roost, then... Or, I mean, even with Roost, you need to keep clicking Roost, and I keep clicking Triple Axle, basically, but my opponent made it easier for me there by not doubling up onto the Primarina. I also thought Primarina would outspeed the Corviknight, which is why I thought we were fine, but... Yeah, that felt like a game in which we had pretty good control, but that's the strength of Porygon Z, right? The ability to just get these one-hit KOs, even on Dynamax Pokemon, just makes it super, super strong. That being said, we are 2-0 against Porygon Z today, so I'll take it at least. And yeah, I mean, Sandslash has definitely not been like the carry for the most part, but it's actually a really nice late-game Pokemon just because of its unique typing, so... that's how I see it best used. We're up against Hard Trick Room here. I mean, this is... it might be Federico's Trick Room team. I don't know. I don't remember if, like, any Pokemon are different here. This is where Gothitelle, I think, finally comes into play, because Imprison's actually really valuable here, especially against Ice Spam. The only thing that really threatens Gothitelle is going to be that Marowak, so we're going to want to make sure we check that Marowak. So I think, like, Primarina looks really good here, obviously, to beat Marowak. Ninetales is actually interesting, because we could potentially just... Like, setting up Aurora Veil. I mean, the main question to ask is basically, is Aurora Veil valuable enough to bring Ninetales? Because otherwise, I'm thinking we just go Cinderace, Rillaboom, and Primarina. Another approach in this game we could go with is Ninetales, Rillaboom. But with Focus Sash likely on the opposing end, I don't know how I feel about that. Because if Trick Room goes up, I think we're in a lot of trouble in this game. Like, and we don't want Trick Room to go up. So maybe we don't bring Cinderace, actually. We go, like, Ninetales and Gothitelle with Rillaboom and Primarina in the back. Because to me, this feels like a good Primarina game. Yeah. Alright, let's try this out. I don't know if this is the smartest decision, but we've gone with the same mode every time with this team, and this is finally, like, a chance to deviate. And I think it is, like, we don't want to go with the standard mode of Primarina, Cinderace with Ninetales, Sandslash in the back, so, yeah. I don't know. Sandslash doesn't feel that good here. It's a bulky team overall. It's not going to do much damage into Marowak or Azumarill, which are the Pokemon that often Dynamax. And it's going to be Hat-Inity here, so this is actually very good for us. Because turn 1, this is just going to be a free Aurora Veil and Imprison. Yeah. So the only way my opponent can get around this is by going for... I mean, sorry, not the only way. The thing is, if you expect, like, Imprison to come out, you can immediately... There are so many different plays you could go for. You could Dynamax the Hatterene turn 1, which is a little risky, but I think we just go for Imprison and Blizzard... Or not Blizzard, sorry, Aurora Veil. We just want to guarantee the screens up here because there is a decent chance my opponent just clicks, like, double Expanding Force. Or, sorry, Expanding Force Dazzling Gleam. By getting up Aurora Veil, it makes the Primarina that much bulkier. And one route we could go for... Okay, they don't max, which is, I think, a good sign. Although, I guess I would have been okay with them committing a Dynamax turn 1 here, too. Oh, and the Gothitelle actually outspeeds. Beautiful. Okay. They do go for the Dazzling Gleam, though, so good play on the Hat's end. But, yeah, Ninetales doesn't take much damage there, so this is really good for us. Because my opponent's trapped in as well, it's Goggles Entity, so good to note that. I'm just going to go for Expanding Force and Blizzard here. I don't really want to switch out right now. Like, one play I could eventually go for is the Self-Ice Shard to get the weakness policy going on the Rillaboom. Because I think Rillaboom at +2 actually beats my opponent pretty hard. Okay, they're just going to go for Helping Hand Dazzling Gleam, which is fine by me. Like, I don't even think you KO us here, and it potentially just puts both my opponent's Pokemon in a range for a double knockout the subsequent turn. Yeah. Okay, so Blizzard Expanding Force. I mean, this Gothitelle is perfect specifically for this lead, so that's exactly why we brought it. And if you're trying out like the Trick Room team that my opponent has, which we used previously on this channel, the way you get around Gothitelle is or Imprison is basically by not leading Hat in DD. You need to have another lead, for example. It's like Marowak actually would have put on a lot of pressure, but it's pretty hard to feel comfortable leading Marowak, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna go for Expanding Force Blizzard again here. No reason not to. We've got the trap in here. And I think we need both attacks to actually pick up the knockout onto Hatterene. And I would still like to knock that out just because if we can deny my opponent from setting up Trick Room ever in this game, then we'll just be in the driver's seat the entire time. So the main thing that's really good for us here is Gothitelle actually outspeeding NDD. That's not, I guess, super surprising because NDDs on those teams often will want to be like min speed. NDD actually protects, which I'm also okay with because, oh, it's just a double protect. Okay. Makes sense. Stalling out a turn of Imprison slash... Or sorry, a turn of, like, screens right now. So, makes sense. But I feel pretty content just going for a double up. I hear my phone ringing, but it's far away from me. Yeah. Okay, I'm actually going to see who's calling. Oh, we're good. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is just a double KO this next turn, right? The fact that we're faster means that you pretty much have no way around it. And with Light Clay being up, we still have multiple turns. The only scary thing is that now my opponent will get a double free switch in, one of which is going to be a sweeper. But, like, if my opponent has both the Azumarill and Marowak in the back, then we just hard win the game. However, what I'm worried about is Pory-GONE plus one of the sweepers. Because then what that allows you to do is I can't really imprison you successfully. You can set up Trick Room and KO my Gothitelle. They're just going for double protects. Okay. I would not have mind... Like, I think if you're my opponent, you want to lose the NDD here, honestly. Like, had I actually not attacked with Gothitelle and, like, I don't know, like, switched out here, that actually might have been the better play. Yeah, actually, in retrospect, it's better to switch out the Goth there, because the NDD is never able to do anything, right? We know it has Protect, Follow Me, Expanding Force, Helping Hand. So... yeah, at best, you go for Helping Hand. So, actually, that was a pretty big misplay on my end, in my opinion. It's better to switch out Gothitelle just so that I can self-pressure with the Pokemon that I want to Dynamax. Because right now, I'm not going to Dynamax either of these Pokemon, right? Okay, Marowak. See if it's Porygon. It's Rillaboom. That's really good for us. Okay, nice. I think that should effectively win us the game. Actually, not necessarily, I guess. But what we do here is we can protect the Ninetales. Because I have Primarina Rillaboom in the back. Max Primarina honestly doesn't seem too bad either, but here's what I want to go for. I want to Expanding Force into Marowak and just protect the Ninetales. Because then I can bring in my Rillaboom, Self-Ice Shard, and Max Darkness into Marowak. Pick up a KO onto that, and then we should win the Rillaboom versus Rillaboom War. Especially if my opponent like commits to Dynamax this turn. This is actually a good example of a turn in which you might not want to Dynamax if you're my opponent, solely for... because like you're not really getting that much off the Dynamax because you're never really taking too much damage. That being said, if you don't Dynamax Marowak, I guess I get an Expanding Force off, even though it's single target. It's still a little bit of chip damage, enough where Rillaboom has more value. But they are going to commit to Dynamax, which we want to see. Okay. I'm expecting to be Marowak, so let's see. Yep, no surprise there. So Marowak's going to come out. Yeah. Primarina still doesn't... I mean, we have screens up, actually, so I don't know if I actually really need to be scared of Marowak with Primarina because of screens. Maybe not. Either way, I should obviously assume it's Assault Vest on the Rillaboom. Gothitelle actually goes first, going for Expanding Force. That's actually pretty good damage, I gotta say. Alright, I'm just gonna go for Knockoff onto Goth, which is actually not gonna knock us out. And Max Flare. Okay. Let's see if that KOs us. Oh, it should definitely KO through Protect, yeah. Huh. Well, that makes this more interesting, I guess, because now I can't go for the knockoff, but I still have Max Darkness with Rillaboom, right? And I have Ally Switch, too, actually. This is a great spot for Ally Switch, because you probably want to just glide into the Gothitelle and then target the Rillaboom slot. Yeah, I don't know if Max Darkness... I don't think Max Darkness KOs, to be honest. So I actually think the better route is to just bring in Rillaboom. This game actually is still like closer than I'd really like it to be. Because I think here you glide into Gothitelle. So like I can Ally Switch and then just go for a knockoff onto Marowak. I think it's really hard to read into the ally switch here. The worst case is I lose both of my Pokemon. Even if I do, I think Primarina still has a decent fighting chance, especially with us still having screens up and Grassy Terrain eventually expiring. However, that was a nice play by my opponent last turn. I was actually expecting to get knocked out so that I'd get a free switch in. And that's exactly why the turn that I had Gothitelle out against both of my opponent's Pokemon, I should have just hard switched it, because the main problem in this game was that I didn't get one of my sweepers out in time. Okay, let's see. Yep, there's Grassy Glide. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, get knockoff off. It's good damage. Maybe now Max Darkness KOs. And they're gonna go for Max Quake. Okay. Yep, into Gothitelle. Perfect. So, oh wow, that doesn't even KO us. Yeah, I mean, that's the value of getting rid of Marowak's item, right? Okay. We'll obviously get Spadef drops with Max Darkness. I think here... I mean, a Max Flare in Sun probably still KOs us, and I don't think a Max Darkness KOs Marowak. How many turns of Terrain are up? Still 3. 2 turns of Aurora Veil. Would Max Darkness KO Marowak here? I might just go for Max Darkness and Expanding Force. How do we lose in that situation? With screens being up, yeah, I don't even know if you KO. I mean, Sun is up, but we've gotten rid of, yeah, I'm just gonna Expanding Force this time. I think Max Darkness alone might be enough to knock out Marowak. Actually, probably not, right? Because knockoff is supposed to do increased damage. Yeah, this is weird. Like, would I want to Dynamax Primarina? Maybe. Maybe I could have just gone for a knockoff onto Rillaboom, actually. Now that I think about it, I think the better play is to knock off Rillaboom, because there is a chance I just lose my Dynamax Pokemon immediately without... Like, I mean, if we KO Marowak, we win the game, but I don't know if we can pick up the knockout here. Maybe we could have gone for Ally Switch again, but I was thinking my opponent reads into the Ally Switch this time around, and that's actually exactly what happens. Nice, okay. So this actually should... Yeah, after the Spadef drop, we should KO Marowak, so we're good. But, well... A little close for comfort, right? Because, like, Max Darkness didn't pick up the KO. If my opponent did just go for the Grassy Glide there, we might have been in some trouble. But now we definitely knock out Marowak. Nice. Gothitelle was actually by far the carry of this game. But you see, this game was closer than it needed to be, even though I had such a good lead. And that's because I didn't fully push my lead every turn well enough. If I just switched out, Gothitelle the turn, let Ninetales Blizzard KO the Hatterene, and I go out into the Rillaboom, we probably just win the game off that alone. Because then I can go for the Ice Shard Max Darkness combos, or even knockoff combos. So, even though we end up taking this game pretty convincingly, this last turn could have played out really differently, where my opponent could have just gone for Grassy Glide onto the Gothitelle, and then Max Flare into the Rillaboom. And I'm thinking that might still have been enough to knock out the Rillaboom, so then it's Primarina against Rillaboom and Marowak and Sun. So, you know, all it takes is one. Like, you always need to consider every possibility of what can be going on, basically. But I think I'm just going to Max Darkness and Moonblast here. Yeah, I mean, my opponent can't win at this point. Especially because I think we have one more turn of screens up, so I don't even think Grassy Glide KOs here. Yeah, it doesn't. But like I said, I think in retrospect, I don't know. Had I gone for knockoff onto the Rillaboom, then what I could do is get in Primarina and then just Max Ice it. Even if I lose both of my Pokemon there, that's fine because Marowak no longer has its item. So I think in retrospect, that probably would have been a better play. So there were two things I could have done better in this game. One, which was just hard switch in the either of my two sweepers under the turn that I was able to KO the Hatterene, because the Indeedee was basically completely useless. And the beautiful thing about Imprison is even if you switch out on that given turn, they still can't go for whatever attacks, right? It has to be, it's delayed by a turn. So yeah, I think we would have won this a lot more convincingly if I actually went for the switch. But we'll play one more game with this team, or for the episode. Seems like most people do enjoy longer episodes. And once again, it's like, yeah, if you've made it this far and you don't want to watch, you obviously don't have to click the last game. But yeah, for those that want to stick around and watch, why not, right? Okay, what do we got here? Dude, how many Clefairies are we going to go against today? This is the third one in 4 games. I mean, we've got Clef Urshifu, but no Porygon Z this time. It's a really fascinating team on my opponent's end, actually. And this is where the threat of Tailwind actually becomes very scary, because Cinderace gives us a very tough matchup. So if I'm worried about that, the direction we can go in is lead Gothitelle. They have Gothitelle, so they could stop our Gothitelle, which is always also scary. Because what I'm thinking is that Dynamax Primarina looks phenomenal here, right? So if I want to go at that route, I probably want to go like Gothitelle plus Rillaboom. Just for fake out pressure turn 1, Primarina in the back. Cinderace is interesting as a potential late game sweeper. I don't think we bring Sandslash, unfortunately. I just wish Sandslash had better stats. Like base, it has such a mediocre base attack. Yeah, I'm gonna try Cinderace in the back actually. I think it's valuable for Sucker Punch, and depending on what my opponent leads with, I could max the Cinderace. It's just that I think if you're on my opponent's end, you probably try to outspeed us with like Talonflame Cinderace as a lead. If you lead Talonflame Cinderace, I can just fake out the Talonflame Trick Room. I guess the question is actually whether Gothitelle can take a Max Darkness. Now that I think about it, we probably just get one shot by Cinderace Max Darkness, right? So I don't know if this was actually the right approach then. How would I beat Talonflame Cinderace though? That's a really tough lead to go up against. Does my opponent lead that? No, it's going to be Clef and Cinderace instead. Which I guess is still problematic if, indeed, you are Max Darkness on the... I mean, you probably are, right? Is there any chance I survive? I wouldn't think so. Not without a Resist Berry. Yeah, I didn't respect Max Darkness enough, and that's my problem. So if I want to read into Max Darkness, right, I could switch Gothitelle out into Primarina turn 1. Maybe that's the approach. Maybe because my opponent didn't bring Tailwind, we actually try to sweep with our Cinderace. So I switch into Primarina here and just go for a Taunt, I think. Or a Knockoff is valuable here too. Getting rid of Cinderace if it has a Life Orb would be really good here. This is kind of a hard read too, right? I don't know. Like maybe my opponent doesn't even worry about us here, and maybe they don't have Max Darkness and they just go G-Max Fireball into Rillaboom. However, if you knock out Rillaboom, I still have I get a free switching into Primarina, which is at least somewhat valuable, right? The knockoff here is just to potentially get rid of an item, because getting rid of the Life Orb on Cinderace would be really nice. I'm just expecting... I was expecting Max Darkness here, but maybe I read too far into it. And maybe the Clefairy has After You, so my opponent was saying, okay, even if you set up Trick Room, I'm fine. So best case would be... Ooh, okay, Helping Hand, which makes me think there's no Max Darkness, but it's going to be like G-Max... Oh, they actually had it too, wow. Okay, I mean, I'll take that. That's just the guarantee to KO through something like Colbur Berry, I'm guessing. Yeah. Nice. Primarina takes that pretty dang well. Okay, good, good, good. That's what we're hoping for. There's a Beam of Light that's really annoying me, and I'm trying to get rid of it. Still there. Okay, that's a very good scenario for us turn 1, because we get rid of the Life Orb now onto that. So it's doing significantly less damage. I think my opponent might just go for something like Helping Hand, Fire into Rillaboom, or Helping Hand Airstream into Primarina. So I honestly want to just Hyper Voice and switch Rillaboom out into Gothitelle. What we're doing is basically stalling out the Dynamax on our opponent's end, and then Dynamax with our Cinderace in the late game. That is the strategy right now. Getting rid of Life Orb is already valuable, but I still need to stall out the Max, because with Helping Hand pressure, that combination is still going to really hurt. But if you can have good defensive switch-ins against Cinderace, game becomes a lot easier. Okay, so just go for another Helping Hand. It's not really too surprising. Let's see if it's Airstream, maybe into Primarina. Oh, they have Max Lightning. Okay, you don't see that often. Interesting. Fortunately, that will pick up the KO. Yeah, I actually thought Primarina was fine there. I didn't think we'd get KO'd by anything, but Max Lightning coming out. So Max Darkness, Max Lightning, do you not have Airstream then, or did you give up one of Fire and Fighting? That is the question I have right now. Could hard bring out Cinderace right now and then just like Airstream immediately. I'm still worried about eating up damage from my opponent's end, but if I bring out Rillaboom, do I just lose too much momentum to recover from? I wasn't expecting Max Lightning. That was a cool play. Like, Fake Out's not really valuable by bringing this. I think I still bring out Rillaboom right now, because, like, my game plan was to max Cinderace in the late game, right? And I think, like, my opponent might still have to respect the Trick Room here, so they might still just go for Helping Hand Darkness into Gothitelle. Nice play, though. And this is why Cinderace is so freaking good, right? I am just going to glide here, I think, into the Clef. Ally Switch is interesting to consider here. Because you're either Max Darknessing into Gothitelle or Fireball into Rillaboom, right? So Ally Switch actually feels alright here. Yeah. I just want to get Cinderace in and sweep in the late game. So, once again, the reason I led the way I did was because I thought Talonflame plus Cinderace was too scary to go up against, so I need to at least put on pressure against that. However, my game plan actually wasn't very smart anyway, because I think, like, with Life Orb Max Darkness, you just probably one-hit KO Gothitelle anyway, so I needed a better way around this. Yeah, so there's no point in going for Fake Out there, because you're going to be able to eat it up. Helping Hand is higher priority. But I'm hoping here it was just like a Max Darkness into now what is the Rillaboom slot. Either way, we get a nice Grassy Glide off before anything. It's not much damage, though. Oh, they actually have for Max Strike. What is this thing's moveset? Like, you normally see Fire fighting, right? And Steel. Okay, targets Gothitelle now. Nice. Good. Does it not even have a Fire-type attack? Because that targeted the Rillaboom slot, right? If you had a Fire-type attack, would you really target the Rillaboom slot there? Relatively unlikely. Huh. We've seen Max Strike. So, Lightning Strike and Darkness. That is not the moveset you'd really expect on Cinderace. I'm thinking he doesn't have Fire or Flying then. Why else would you Max Strike there? You don't really need the Speed Drop, right? I want a free switch in here. Ooh, Taunting could actually be really nice right now against Clef. So, like, expanding Force into the Cinderace and Taunt into Clef. Because by taunting it, then I get my Cinderace in for free, and then we can start Airstreaming. The only problem is that my late game plan is literally completely reliant on G-Max Cinderace right now. So all my eggs are on that basket. However, I'm thinking, like, Cinderace is a good enough Pokemon where it literally can just sweep through. And we'll still have Grassy Glide pressure from the Rillaboom as well, which is nice. So, I gotta say, yeah, interesting Cinderace moveset from my opponent's end. You know, not running Fire is also interesting considering that it is G-Max. It was G-Max Cinderace, right? Yeah, so they go for Follow Me here, that's fine. Let's see if we get knocked out on either. Sucker Punch? Huh. Okay. I'll take that. Clef is actually in a really useless position now. Yeah. And the reason I say that is because Clefairies normally don't even really have much more. Okay, I mean, if you're going for Sucker Punch there, you obviously don't have a Fire-type attack. So, given that we taunted now, yeah, I actually want to Ally Switch here, because I think he might Sucker Punch into Gothitelle, but I also don't want to freely switch into my Cinderace. So, I'm taking advantage of the fact that we have our opponent locked in right now. And that I don't think the Cinderace actually scares me. Yep, there's Sucker Punch. Okay. Oh, that's how it works. Okay, so it targets the Rillaboom slot anyway. Interesting. Yeah, and Clef is going to struggle. I mean, this is why Taunt is a good move, right? Nice. Okay. So I'll take that. Yeah, all I don't want to do is basically switch in my Cinderace carelessly. Another Glide should KO that Cinderace, I think, on the opposing end. Is Gothitelle valuable to conserve? Potentially if there's Urshifu in the back. I'm content to just Grassy Glide here. And Expanding Force. I don't even know. I don't even think Sucker Punch KOs us here. The reason I want to pick up a double knockout here is... I don't know, this is kind of a similar situation to the last game where, like, maybe it's actually smarter for me to just switch out into Cinderace so that I pressure with my Dynamax Pokemon instead of giving my opponent 2 free switch-ins, which is actually exactly what happened last game. Okay, nice. They don't even go for Sucker Punch this time around. So we should be able to pick up a double KO here. Glad Gothitelle comes out today, though. It's actually put in a lot of work for us. I just want to get rid of Clefairy, because, like, Taunt's obviously eventually going to wear off, and I don't want to worry about, like, Friend Guard stuff. However, what I'm worried about now is, I guess, the late game Talonflame Urshifu if my opponent has that. That's the only mode I think I'm actually really worried about. Anything else, and I think we're alright. The only problem is that we can't protect right now, so we are at risk of a potential double KO. Which is why I think it might have been smarter to switch out into the... There's Talonflame, okay. Not really what we want to see. Is that Urshifu? No, it's Vanillux. Okay, then I think our Cinderace wins this. Yeah, we should be good. Because we're just going to max Cinderace here. I'm content just going for Grassy Glide onto the Vanillux and expanding Force. Sure, double weapons. I mean, Talonflame probably Brave Birds here, right? But whatever. Oh, they protect. Okay, that's even better for us. Why would you protect? Don't you just break your own Focus Sash through? Or sorry, not Sash, but your own Gale Wings through that? So now you don't have priority Brave Bird. Okay. Oh, it's Goggles Talonflame? Yeah, it's Goggles Talonflame. That makes sense. Then there's no reason not to protect there, I guess. Although you do lose a turn of your own Hail by doing that. Oh, okay. There was only one turn of terrain. That also explains it. So you can Brave Bird Blizzard now. Although I don't know if you actually outspeed with the Vanillux. Yeah, I think Talonflame is honestly the bigger threat, so I'd rather just go for a knockoff and an expanding force onto that slot now. Because like we haven't maxed yet. So Max Cinderace should win us the game here. Okay, there's Brave Bird. Should go into Gothitelle. Yep. It's fine. I think Cinderace wins this 2v1 anyway. Okay, they are going to be faster than us with Vanillux, but that's fine. Okay. Yeah, then it might have been smarter to have switched out last turn. But, like I said, I think Cinderace takes this 2v1, which is why I wasn't super concerned. I guess the fear now is potential freezes. I have to worry about Will-O-Wisp from the Talonflame too, and I'd rather stay Fire-type. So I think I'm just going to max and Fireball into the Talonflame. I would think this KOs with Hail damage. Oh, wait. He's... yeah, it's not Hail. I think this is still okay, though. But like I said, I think one main takeaway you guys should learn from how I played today was that I could often have converted passive situations into more offensive situations, and I very carelessly didn't do that 2 different times, which I think hurt me a lot. It should be Focus Sash on Vanillux, so the tricky thing here is that I'm going to need 3 attacks, but I don't think you do enough damage to Cinderace. I obviously don't want to go for... Like, I want to stay Fire-type right now, because we're up against Vanillux, so that's why I'm playing this the way I am. Because I shouldn't take too much damage from my opponent's turn right now. They're just going to commit Brave Bird. Okay. After the Brave Bird recoil, I think we should be alright. Would you max Fireball? Let's see. Okay, we're good, yeah. I don't know. We need a knockout there, and we also need to not change our type. Because Vanillux should have no offense against us other than Blizzard or Freeze Dry, in which you're just hoping for a freeze. That did a fair amount. That was a crit. Oh. I don't... Man. Okay, now the question is whether you KO us with a crit and another crit. Because I just go for Fireball. There's no reason to go for anything else because I don't want to change my typing. I have to stay Fire typing. Well, that crit sucks because without the crit, we definitely would have won. But this is what I get for playing more passively. Unless you're not sashed here. Yeah, but they're sashed. Okay, we need to take single target Blizzard and Hail and Life Orb, which I think we do just by a slim margin. But let's see. I think we're good. Jeez, this game was so close. 16 down to 7. But we should be good. Yeah, I'm just going to Fireball one last time. Whew. Oh, they have Ice Shard! Well, they needed the crit to win, but like I said, I deserve to lose this for not playing as optimally as I could have. Oh, that's heartbreaking, man. Yeah, without the crit, I don't think you win that, because you just get so much increased damage through that. Ice Shard is not enough to... I mean... it's funny because like it would have been better if we actually weren't maxed at that point, so I could click Sucker Punch instead. But I had to max on that first turn. I think I had to target the Talonflame as well because Brave Bird. I think I played the endgame with Cinderace correctly, but the mistakes I made were potentially not switching out Rillaboom. Although I think if I switch out Rillaboom into Cinderace and my opponent does Brave Bird there, we're really screwed. Was Ally Switch worth it? Ally Switching might have been worth it with Gothitelle since I was expecting to lose both of my Pokemon there anyway, so... Yeah, in the end, we lose to a crit, but this is a good example of a game in which I could have mitigated the RNG by just playing better earlier. Like I said, by not switching out earlier on, I was in a more passive position. I just needed the Cinderace positioned out better, or because Clefairy was literally struggling against a Gothitelle, which was trapping it in. That was actually smarter. I should not have KO'd the Clefairy. I should just leave it in, because there's still one turn of Taunt left, so what we should have done was knock out the Cinderace, and then get my Cinderace out. while the Clefairy is struggling, because then Dynamax is over, so it's not like I really care about what you do. That would have hard won us the game, so yeah, like, use this as an example of a game where it's like, did I get unlucky in the end? Do I win that game the majority of the time? Sure, but were there things I could have done better so that I wasn't even in that position? Yes. Like, I absolutely should have won this game more convincingly, and I messed up despite being in a really commanding position early game, so... if anything, I mean, it wasn't a complete throw, but I do think I needed to pull the trigger a little bit faster and just, yeah, switch out Gothitelle into Cinderace. You know, the fear of that was, I was thinking it was safe. Like, I was like, I don't want to switch in my Cinderace and then get crit by the opposing Cinderace, because it's really important that Cinderace Dynamaxes before it takes any damage. There's the one explanation for that, but... yeah, I thought we had it too. I forgot about the possibility of Ice Shard. The fact there was Goggles on Talonflame plus Ice Shard, like, my opponent needed those exact 2 items to really have a chance in this game too, but I don't think I played the endgame any differently with Cinderace, because I need to knock out Talonflame so it doesn't get another Brave Bird off, and yeah, at that point, I think my opponent is hoping for a crit or a freeze on the Cinderace, so the odds, we win that game the majority of the time, but once again, we could have mitigated those odds even better. But that was a fun one, so I can't complain. Alright, that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Thank you so much as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon. Alright. Peace.